Coming up on today's Code Bet Daily, it's just Stats Guy and I. How good's this? We're going to talk about a whole bunch of NBA. I've got some NFL gear, but we're all talking player props, game picks, best bets. There's a Rate My Multi. Stats Guy, what else are you looking at?
A bit of EPL, Cricket World Cup, of course, and an old favourite in the tennis.
We're running the gamut of sports. How good's this? Love a good Monday show. Check it all out on Code Bet Daily right now. Welcome to Code Bet Daily. It is Monday. Oh, jeez. October 23. The good thing is NBA season starts in 2 days. Just saying.
Oh, can't wait.
Oh, boy. All right, episode 220 this here, Code Bet Daily. I am your host, Jaymz Clements. I'm the editor of a good website. It's called Code Bet. You can find that at codebet.com.au for all your odds comparison, betting analysis, all that sort of good stuff. I'm only joined today by one of the pontiffs. That's right, the pontiffs of punting. It's Stats Guy. What's going on, Stats Guy?
Absolutely. As you just mentioned, I'm absolutely pumped for the NBA season starting on Wednesday. Celtics are on Thursday against the Knicks. Very excited.
I was having a conversation yesterday with my brother-in-law just going, how was the NBA completely cooked this for opening day?
Yeah.
Where we have two Western Conference games. So just
give us the East is looking really good. Give us something.
How do you just not have the conference finalists playing on the opening day? Very. Again, I'll continue my pitch to become the vice executive president of Common Sense for the NBA and take a very tidy, very small six-figure, stipend.
Honestly, they can afford it.
They can. Come on. They just literally need to run stuff by me and just go, Jim, what do you reckon? I'll be like, yeah,
nah.
What are you doing, man? Do East and West, what are you doing? And be like, that's a good idea. Anyway, this is Code Bet Daily, aka Code NBA Daily. You can actually get all the daily NBA gear this season with NBA Australia. We're back to daily this year. I'm not having a kid at the start of the season this year.
That's handy, yeah.
Smart move by me. Well, I'm not having a kid that I know of. All right. Bet Daily. It is what it says on the tin, Stats Guy. We are talking codes. It's betting. It's daily. That's what it's all about. Today, talking player props, game picks, best bets. I've got to rate my multi at the end of this one, which is a big NBA over-unders. I've sort of had over multis. I've had under multis. This is a nice combo, I think, of four of my favorite. So I am looking at NBA. I'm looking at NFL because we've got an awesome game tomorrow night as well, or tomorrow morning. And that's about it. What about you, Stats Guy?
A bit of everything. Going to go EPL. There's a game tomorrow morning to end the match week. Cricket World Cup and some tennis. An old favourite of mine that I'm very excited about.
Nice one. What's the EPL game that's finishing off?
It's Tottenham Fulham, it's another London derby. Very surprised. It was a random one that's Tuesday morning, but yeah, it's tomorrow morning. There wasn't many odds for the EPL show, so there's some now.
Tremendous. Right, let's get into some player props. Player props. Player props. We will also have some bad beats as of tomorrow. Alex is AWOL because he's dealing with being hacked. So
yeah, sorry about that, Alex, but
Stats Guy hacked him on the week. Trying to steal his identity, trying to steal his girl, trying to steal his horse, all the good stuff. Oh, he's some sort of cattle rustler. What is this, 1850s like Arizona? Geez, Stats Guy, settle down. Anyway, player props, let's get into it. Very simple stuff for me. NBA, just digging in. And there are some great markets about just specific players to average, essentially benchmarks, right? So statistical benchmarks for specific players. There's a great little market. I think Bet365 have this. Essentially 6 assists a game this year.
I might have to have a look at that.
I was unable to multi them up, but still just a couple of good little looks. $1.47 for Ben Simmons. Box Hill Benny, he's back. Went very early in my fantasy draft last night. That contained 20 Australians, so it wasn't a giant surprise that he went early, but it was a bit of a surprise that it wasn't me. I was kind of like sneaky. Let's see how we go. But 6 assists, look, this is a Brooklyn Nets team that needs basically just ball handling.
Pass it off,
Floor general. They don't need him to score. It's like just hit Mikal Bridges, hit Cam Johnson, hit Spencer Dinwiddie when he's not having a suck about not having the ball in his hand.
True.
And away you go. $1.47, it feels a little bit underpriced for me. So I was like, love it. Just as a straight up bet, $1.47. If you can eventually multi that or at least find it somewhere where you can have like that benchmark for Simo, away you go. Because I think 6 is basically his floor, right? Like as long as he's playing over 26, 27, 28 minutes a game.
Should be getting at least 8,
Hopefully he's up to that by the halfway through the season. He's back up to like 36 minutes a game and averaging 10 assists a game. True. So you can start at 6. You could probably eke that up to 7 or 8. the prices get a lot better. One I do like for 8 is LaMelo Ball. I think he is, as long as he stays healthy, obviously, it doesn't really matter for this, as long as he hits the benchmark for how many games you need to play. $1.54 for 8 assists a game for LaMelo Ball. I love this because it's basically him, Terry Rouse, and not much else in Charlotte. Who knows what's going to happen with Miles Bridges and Gordie Hayward sort of off the bench, whatever role he's actually going to play. Actually, without Miles Bridges, he might start again.
He might have to start, yeah.
LaMelo should be a triple-double threat, game in, game out, I reckon. Big 6-7 point guard, loves it. And a couple of other ones for the 6 assists a game that are just basic locks for me. Scoot Henderson, $1.28, and Josh Giddey up. Giddey, $1.43. So you could almost double up on the Giddey and Simo. 6 assists and make an all-Aussie multi. That'll get you around $2. So, a couple of other little ones. Trae Young, $2.75 to average 28 points a game, stats guy.
That's better. That's much better odds than I thought it would be. Wow.
I was absolutely flabbergasted because I think you've got no John Collins. That's a tall cocktail there in Atlanta anymore. And you sort of think about Trae. He averaged 26 last year, but he averaged 28.4 the year before that. Obviously, DeJounte Murray sort of comes in, eats into a little bit of that points total. But I think to just go over 28, basically bounce back to a year and a half ago, feels great for $2.75.
That's awesome.
Love that a bit. And there'll be a rash more of the statistical milestones that we'll have on tomorrow's show just ahead of that. And we'll actually have an NBA Australia go up today as well. It'll have some of the dumb big NBA Australia awards. Actually, I think Monday's show might be the actual awards. And then tomorrow, right into the season, the dumb NBA Australia one. So might even have some more statistical stuff in there. Tomorrow, though, we also have the NFL. For Monday Night Football, you've got the Niners in Minnesota to take on the Vikings. A weird game because Minnesota have been not great, but at the same time, they're at home where traditionally they've been pretty tough. They're playing a Niners team that finally lost last week, which was Brock Purdy's first ever regular season loss. He's now 10-1.
Really? Jeez.
Oh, tear it down. Chaos.
That's crazy.
It's done. Well, I watched Mac Jones throw for like actual passes today and I was beside myself. I'm like, what are you doing now, Mac? Come on, man. You're meant to be tanking to get your replacement in because you stink. And then he plays well and you're like,
what are you doing?
This is just making me angrier. Anyway, tomorrow, though, for this Niners team, no Deebo Samuel. Christian McCaffrey's likely to go dealing with an oblique. He scored it, I think it's now 14 straight games. So it might even be 15. But I think this is where you just go, right, well, we'll just throw it to the other big guy, George Kittle. We did it 2 weeks ago when we gave him 3 touchdowns and it was awesome against Dallas. But if you've got a hobbled McCaffrey, you've got no Deebo. This is a Minnesota team that allows like the 17th or 18th most passing yards as well because they do love a blitz. This is the thing. They love a blitz stats guy. So this is just Purdy dumping off passes time after time after time to Kittle, especially if McCaffrey, who you probably think about him dumping it off to first, he might just go a little bit, right, I don't want to like run Christian into some trouble. Here we go, George, bang, finds a big fella.
Perfect.
45 yards and an anytime touchdown is $4.50. Nice. It's amazing. The amount of times that he could get targeted in this game, that's chaos to me. Over 48.5 yards, that's his over-under. You could go over that as well. And an anytime touchdown for there, that's $4.68. My favorite, though, $13 for George Kittle to score twice. Not only do I need him to do that in fantasy for me to get past my NFL Australia co-host, Gaz.
Oh, that's a big matchup.
Could be a great matchup, actually, as well, if Kittle can get me over the line because I am ST ruggling. But Kittle, anytime touchdown is like one of my favorite looks this week. $13 for $2. $13 for 2 touchdowns as well. Feels pretty good. And if you don't even like George Kittle, just go Brandon Ayuk, the other guy. That's right, the other big wide receiver for the Niners. Anytime touchdown for him is just $2.70 straight up. If you want to sort of balance it out and go, maybe Kittle's the dump-off guy, but Ayuk gets in, $2.70. Why not both? Just saying, raise the kid up. Anytime touchdown and 75-plus yards for Ayuk is also $4.50. So
awesome.
It's kind of pick your poison. Which one do you like the most? I prefer Kittle. Kittle basically because he's on my fantasy team, so I like also that. But against tight ends, I think the Minnesota rush, pass rush, and the blitzing that they'll do will leave Kittle a little bit more open. So there's a couple of really good NFL looks tomorrow.
Awesome.
Flip side for Vikings, I just don't trust any of their offensive players. So I'm spoiler alert, I'm going to go back to the Niners in a second. Stats guy, what's your player prop?
Yeah, back to the EPL as I mentioned before. Match week 9 ends tomorrow morning with another London derby. It's been the derby weekend. Tottenham taking on Fulham. Tottenham, if they win, they go back to the top of the table. They're undefeated, which has been absolutely awesome under Ange. Ange recruited Jaymz Maddison, who I'm going to talk about. He's had an awesome start coming over from Leicester. He's second in the league at the moment with 5 assists in the assist column, 5 assists in 8 games. Sorry.
It's almost like Ange Ball's working or
It
something.
is, yeah. They've been absolutely awesome. Ange Ball is just it's so much fun to watch, so attacking. And Jaymz Maddison, every time they go and attack, they just give him the ball. And he's been the perfect pairing with Heung-min Son. Everyone thought Sonny and Kane it's technically, statistically, the best duo ever in the Premier League. And then the Kane went away, and they were just like, oh, Maddison just slotted in nicely right in there, and it's been awesome watching them two play together. Yeah, second most assists in the league, as I mentioned. But the big stat here is against Fulham. He loves dominating against Fulham, Maddison. He had a goal and assist last time they played, and he's got an assist in 3 of the last 4 matches he's played against them. So anytime assists for a guy that they just go through him every single time. $3 I really like. I know that's really short. Usually your assist markets are $4 or $5 at the very least. But he's just in incredible form, and yeah, I think Sonny's going to finish one. Sonny as well, $2.10 to score. I think it's inevitable when Tottenham are playing at home. And $4.75, I think, for him to score first as well. But the main one I'm leaning towards is Maddison, just to get an assist at $3.
Nice one. Can we multi that up so he's got the anytime assist to Sonny?
And that would be cool. I'll have to get a multi going. I might have to do that later in the show. I'll get that going.
I'm just saying, like that'd be the most amazing. Like nailed it, bang.
To be fair, I reckon he's got 5 assists. He's probably 3 of them are probably to Son. So I'll have to I'll multi that up after. I reckon I'll have a look at it.
Stuff. All right, let's do some game pick. What's your best match or game pick? Well, I think on the weekend with our NBL pick stats guy, I think across Friday, Saturday, went 2 or 3. The over-unders were an absolute mess, however, because I think...
Oh, I know. Most of them went over when I was going under.
The one that didn't go over was Brisbane, Southeast Melbourne, Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Brisbane just decided not to show up. It's like that should have been the lock of all locks. What are we doing here? Meanwhile, United Illawarra flew over, and Adelaide turned around and beat the Wildcats, and now there are a lot of problems out there out west in Perth, the NBL, and a bit of a rough one.
I can't believe how bad they're going.
Quick look before we do. I'll end up doing NBA picks tomorrow for the Wednesday games, but I think at the moment we do have Denver taking on the Lakers. The Lakers are 4.5-point underdogs in Denver as the reigning champs who beat them in the conference finals. But if you listen to the Lakers players, Lakers fans, they basically won that conference finals. Which point,
pretty much, yeah.
They basically won the finals as well, if you ask Lakers fans. So basically, you should just hang another banner. Unfortunately, it was actually Denver who won that. This game is fascinating. Can't wait. I'm going to break it down tomorrow. And then the other one is a 1.5-point line for the Lakers Suns, which is fascinating because you've obviously got a Warriors team that was really good, has historically been awesome at home, and a Suns team that'll be debuting Bradley Beal in his first game as a Sun, which is awesome. So you got Chris Paul up against Brad Beal, 2 new additions. That's going to be awesome. But we'll talk about those tomorrow. In the meantime, there will be an NFL game. I already talked this up. I've already sort of tipped my hand a little bit. I'm going the Niners -7. It's a bit of a big line.
That is big, yeah.
Considering that they're on the road. But the Vikings, it's just been a bit of a struggle to watch them. They lose Justin Jefferson for a couple of weeks with I think it was a hammy that he did. And it's always tough to lose the best receiver in the NFL. Well,
that's not helpful, yeah.
Well, it's either him or Tyreek Hill, basically, right? The best receiver. And without him, I just can't quite see Minnesota hanging with San Francisco, coming off a loss, looking to put the hurt back on somebody, and Purdy just going, right, we're going to be okay. Because this is also Kyle Shanahan coaching in a dome. I think last week, so the Niners lose to Cleveland. That's outside. It's just one of those horrible games that everyone could sort of see coming. You're unbeaten. You play against one of the best defenses in the NFL. Skadoosh, bang, you get one. This, however, this is a Minnesota team that managed 19 points against a banged-up Chicago team and just sort of stink. Like, they've lost 3 of the – what are they? 2 and 3 so far. 2 and 4 now.
2 and 4,
and
yeah.
I don't trust this Minnesota team whatsoever. They were like amazingly 11-0 in one-score games last year. I think they're already 0-4 or something crazy like that. They would have. Yeah, that's now another win over Chicago in that one-score game. So at least got one on the board.
Yeah.
But a bit of a tough one. So I'm going to go the Niners. They're obviously not only are they 5-1, they're crushing it, but they're covering the line really, really well. I think they're 3-1-1, so they've pushed one of them, but they've covered a couple of really hefty lines as well, like 15.5 against Arizona,
Wow.
10.5 against the Giants, that sort of stuff. But even like 2 weeks ago, we saw them just demolish Dallas 42-10. So I think we'll see something similar-ish, probably not a 32-point win, but they should do enough to cover the 7-point line for me. So I'm taking the Niners at -7. They've still got, as mentioned, Kittle, Ayuk. They'll still have a bit possibly of McCaffrey. And McCaffrey has scored in 15 straight. That is absolutely crazy.
Ooh.
But I think you'll just see Kyle Shanahan dial something up pretty crazily in the Dome in Minnesota. They win that one. The over-under is the tricky one. It is only 43. So it's kind of that case of like, do you think Minnesota can score enough to stick with them? I think I'd probably still go the over because it is very low. Like that's just like a 23-20.
It's doable, yeah.
Like right there, right? So 23-20. If you want to see this team actually cover, they're probably going to put up 27 points. I'm going to say 27-20, and we get the sort of over and the -7. We should be all right. So that'll get to you $3.70.
Oh, that's good.
All in Niners. Off we go. Niners -7 and the over 43.5. As I mentioned, like Niners cruising. They've won 12 straight against NFC teams when they've been the favorite. So,
jeez, not bad.
Pretty good team, I'd say. All right, Stats Guy, what's your game pick?
Awesome. I'll quickly touch on something Alex wrote down actually as well, even though he's not here. Tottenham, Fulham, as I just mentioned. I think Tottenham are the clear better team. They're undefeated at the moment. But they do play, as Ange Ball, as you said before, just very open. Ange is just known for playing really attacking. Even the fullbacks are coming all the way up. So the over 2.5 goals is hit in 8 of last 10 Tottenham home games. That includes a bit before Ange, but they just play attacking football. And that should be too good for Fulham. They've just got that passing midfield through Maddison. Sonny's going to score a few, I think, as well. So Spurs and over 2.5 goals is what we all tipped in the show. I'm pretty sure it was $2. Just handy value there for Spurs, who should win pretty comfortably. Probably could be like a 3-1. I wouldn't be surprised. I also don't mind the Spurs and both teams to score, which both teams have scored in 5 of the last 6 Tottenham matches. So just because they play that attacking football. So $2.73, a bit better value as well for Spurs and both teams to score. Then I'm going to have a look at the Cricket World Cup. Pakistan taking on Afghanistan tonight. Afghanistan's openers have actually been pretty strong, which has surprised me. 3 of their last 5 matches, they've got the highest opening partnership. They got an 80-run partnership against England, so they're actually going all right. They've got Ramanullah, who's been their star opener. He's got a couple of 80-plus run games across the last month. I know Pakistan are the better team, I think, especially in white ball cricket. Just been pretty solid, but I think Afghanistan can get the highest opening partnership here. The Pakistan have only had the highest opening partnership once, I think, in this tournament so far, and one score was over 16. That's I think it was a 43-run partnership's their highest. All the rest have been lower than 16. I think even if Afghanistan get you around that 40 mark, they can get the highest opening partnership here at the underdog odds. So $2.10. I'm just going to happy to take it on. Why not for Afghanistan?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think Afghanistan will lose. Pakistan are still a much better team, but the highest opening partnership can swing either way. So going to go the underdog.
They had a 134-run opening stand last game against the Aussies, Pakistan, right?
Yes.
Total, and then they absolutely fell apart.
Yes.
On Friday night, and we won that game pretty handily. It's always weird where like the opposite team scores over 300 and you win.
It's weird.
Right. Yeah. Here we are. But yeah, that's an interesting one. I like that. For $2.10, if you're going to go the underdog, why not? I'd be more worried about Pakistan slapping around the Afghanistani bowlers. So
yeah, that's the only thing I'm worried about. But they actually last two meetings as well. Afghanistan, I forgot to mention, had the highest opening partnership.
There you go.
Which surprised me because their bowlers aren't great, but they know how to get a few early wickets by the sounds of it. So we'll see.
Not bad. So that's tonight. Awesome. We've also got a really fascinating sort of setup in the World Cup just in general now, right? Like everybody's basically dropping. Like England have now lost 3 games. Like the reigning champs. Like it might be
got absolutely smashed by South Africa as well, which really surprised me. I'm just gonna have a quick look at the ladder. Aussies are actually not that bad anymore. We're 4th.
Okay, we're sitting 4th because we're 2-2.
Yeah,
and like everybody keeps dropping games. So as long as we don't drop too many more, who knows? We might end up with like a win and in kind of situation against the Poms, which would be pretty strange.
Yeah, I think we got to win. I reckon we play after the Netherlands. We play New Zealand and England. I think if we win one of those, we can probably guarantee a spot in, but it'd just be interesting if we lose both of those. It'd be close.
My beloved New Zealand.
Yes. They're going all right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's do some best bets.
It's best bets. It's best bets. It's time for all the best bets.
It is the best bets. I mentioned this at the top, talking about some over-unders for the NBA. I've already broken this down plenty of times, and you can actually see it on the old website, codebets.com.au.
Absolutely.
My 10 favorite over-unders. There'll be a breakdown of every single team's over-under, hopefully going up later today. But either way, there'll be a bunch of award breakdowns, all that sort of stuff. Brought to you by Stats Going On. But my favorite 4, I think, that'll actually give you a bit of juice. The Thunder over 44.5. I love this Thunder team. I think between Josh Giddey, SGA, and then, of course, the big man, the stick insect, Chet Holmgren.
Yes.
He looks awesome. God, he gives them exactly what they need. Just a little bit of extra backline defense, a bit of, offense out of the 5 spot. It allows the Williamses to just sort of run rampant. I think they scooch over this 44.5 win line mark pretty easily. 45, 46 shouldn't be out of range. Even though the West is an absolute just like horror show this year.
Yeah.
I think the Thunder, this is the sort of team that you love to go over with. Because I think, as I said, in a roundabout way last week on NBA Australia, when I was doing these over-unders, is that the Thunder feel like last year's Sacramento, and Sacramento last year were the year prior's Memphis, and Memphis the year before that.
True. There's always a team, yeah.
It's just like you have to have that young team that has that hunger just to keep going night in, night out, and that's exactly what the Thunder are. So I love that as one of my best bets, the Thunder over 44.5. The Mavs under 44.5. Talk about horror shows in the West. For a team that doesn't play any defense,
yeah,
I would also be looking at Jason Kidd to be the first coach fired.
Oh, wow. That's a big call.
If you think under 44.5 for Dallas, like if it goes bad, Kidd will be out the door quicker than you can say boo.
Yep.
Like, because they'll move him before they move Kyrie, and they might end up moving Kyrie by January or February anyway, right?
That'd be a good multi.
It's kind of like it's like causational, basically, but I just don't trust this Mavs team because even though offensively they could be absolutely blowing the doors off teams, that's the problem with not playing any defense and having a really bad defense is that you'll also blow games. And you do tend to be like a 44-win team if you are really heavily balanced. Like if you don't have someone like KD that can sort of play even a liquid defense on the other end, it just feels like Kyrie and Luka, it's just too heavily weighted offensively. And without rim protection, I just don't like it.
Yeah, they don't have any like gun bigs, do they, really?
I'm going to go under that 44.5. Same thing for Miami, 45.5. They gave up 2 starters in pursuit of Dame Lillard. Didn't get Dame, and people were like, nah, Miami will be fine. It's like,
no,
with what?
Their bench is
not
good.
Old Kyle Lowry, get out of here. Come on, man. He's like older than I am. Like, this is stupid. And like Jimmy Butler's awesome. Bam Adebayo's awesome. We get that. Maybe the Tyler Hero Renaissance Tour starts here, but I never trust a guy in a bucket hat. It's one of my rules. We're going to go under 45.5 just because I think Miami will sort of just do enough to, again, similar to what they did last year, make the play-in tournament, make the playoffs, whatever. But I think that middle part of the East, outside of the top 2, is going to be just full of really half-decent to good teams, like the Brooklyns of the world, Atlanta, New York, even Indy. Like I think I went under on Indy's total, and I just think they might just end up being like a weird casualty of every so often if like they cop one injury, like the bottom could fall out of that team like it did last year when Halliburton missed some time.
Yeah.
So I think like between Cleveland, look, I've been bang on about Cleveland, but if the Donnie Mitchell situation there gets weird, who knows what could happen, but they're going to be really tough. Chicago, they've got a bunch of veterans. It's just going to be tough for Miami to sort of grind through that and get to 46 wins. I just find it really hard to believe. Flip side, Celtics over 54.5. This is your beloved Celtics there, stats boy.
Got my top on here. I think just the pickup. I think Drew Holiday will be one of the pickups of the offseason. He's awesome. Got Porzingis, needs to stay fit, Tatum. But yeah, Tatum. Yeah.
Tatum for MVP, the $8 mark. I absolutely love that still. And I just think they fly over the 54.5 win total. I mean, they did it well over this last year. You had the extreme zinger meal in. They go absolutely hammer and tongs. They'll be pushing for the 1 seed because they know that you'd rather not play Milwaukee in a game 7. I'm just saying.
True.
So 4-leg multi of those 4, $13.36.
Wow.
Just saying.
That's awesome. I'd like to give that a 10. Those are my over-under picks.
Press the button there, Gerald. Rate my multi.
Rate my multi.
I went a bit early on the rating there, but I was going to give it a 10. Those would probably be some of my favorite over-unders as well. The one that's the iffy one, I reckon, is the Mavs, but I don't trust their defense like you mentioned.
Exactly. I think the Dallas thing is like probably the one that I would be most hesitant out of those four. And like if there was, and like trying to dig through like what are your actual other locks. I just love this one a little bit more than the others because it just gives you a little bit of juice. And
like 44, that's still a lot. So yeah.
Because there's like the other ones where if you want to go, is there a lock for the Lakers to go over 47.5? Maybe, probably. But if AD's hurt and LeBron misses some time as well, who knows what could happen, right? The Knicks, 44.5. That feels pretty low to me as well. But at the same time, if it just goes sideways, which it very easily could, that could go under. Like I've talked about the Wizards, how bad they're going to be. The under is like $1.85 anyway. So I'm sort of like, I'm a little bit more bullish on some of these other ones. Atlanta's only 42.5. I'd maybe substitute that in. I think they'll be pretty good with an actual coach, Quinn Snyder.
Yeah, yep.
And doing some pretty good things there. Phoenix at 52.5 is pretty good as well because that's like a hint low. But I just don't like this Mavs team. I really don't.
Fair.
So. All right. I've got a same game multi as well that I'll be judging for tomorrow, for today's Dolphins-Eagles game.
Oh, I might have to have a look at
this. For the Niners, etc. I think because I don't trust that Minnesota stuff at all. You could probably just multi up. Simply, if we do this one live, we'll go a George Kittle anytime touchdown. Let's do it.
This is just your fantasy team.
This is basically my fantasy team. So the over 43.5, as I mentioned, the Niners -7, anytime touchdown scorer. We'll go for the George Kittle. That's $9.18 just straight up like that. So
okay. That's very good.
I'm going to find some points to get to 44, but I think that's all right. So anyway, Stats Guy, what's your best bet?
Going to an old favorite, the tennis and the ATP, Basel Swiss Indoors. Everyone loves this tournament. Andy Murray is taking on Yannick Hanfmann. I'm going to go Andy Murray to go the over of total games. You got to just go over total games in the match because I've said this a million times at the start of the year. I'm going back to it. The stats are backing it up once again. 10 of Andy Murray's last 12 matches have gone over that 22 total games. It's a lot of games, but that includes 8 of those matches going the full 3 sets. All of these tournaments around this time are all 3-set matches max. And for some reason, even if I saw a game, it was a match that he was $1.20 favorite, went the full 3 sets, just got over the line. Then he had one that he was an underdog that just got over the line in 3 sets or he just lost in 3 sets. He's just, I don't know what goes through his head. He's just like, can't get over the line quickly. So over 22.5 total games, I think it's great value, $1.85. I think on some sites it was even $1.70 because people are starting to catch on to Andy Murray's over-unders. It just always goes under. I've got over it. Over, because of all the games. It's pretty crazy.
He just doesn't want to be a fast finisher stats guy.
He really doesn't. And especially on the hard courts as well. He's really good on the grass courts, especially from being from England and things like that. So he sort of gets through the games, matches quickly there. But on the hard courts like this in Switzerland, he's just going to, I think it's going to be a really long match again. That's pretty even in the odds. So I'm going to take Andy Murray, though. I think he's a stronger hard court player than Hanfmann. Hanfmann's been struggling this year on the surface. He's 6-8 in 2023 on hard courts, which is pretty average compared to Andy Murray's 14-10. So Andy Murray to win and the over 22.5 total games is $2.85. I thought that was really good value there. And Andy Murray's had a resurgence of his career this year. So going to back for him overnight.
There you go. So it's got to go the full 3.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
most
if you go 7-6 and you make it.
Yeah. I think it will still go the full 3 because they do match up really closely. But I think
6,
Andy just would drag himself over the line.
I hate it when you make me do math with tennis.
Yeah. Just make sure it's a long match. Andy Murray, he loves them.
That's great, though. $2.85 to go the over and Andy to win.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's an old favorite.
All right, let's get into it. Let's do Code Bet Daily. We are out. That's right. We're finished. It's the Astro. We'll be back on deck tomorrow with, presumably, Alex. He might still be on the phone with the bank. But
Hopefully not.
That's what happens when we hack him on the weekend and try to steal his identity and just do a bunch of stuff. But that's all right. Get right around this show. Of course, all the other shows, NBA Australia, NFL Australia going strong. NBA Australia will be up today with the NBA Australia picks for all the awards. And we'll also have a whole rash of other stuff popping off, I think, in NFL Australia this week where we're looking. Actually, it's the end of the first third of the season. Some awards there too.
Nice.
Award season, apparently. Not bad. We've also got hold all tickets through punters.com.au and Betfair, which is a great listen for all your horsey needs. And, of course, the Co-Bet Daily show and the EPL show, which will be back and firing as per usual. So like, review, and star them all across all your podcast apps. Check us a follow across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twix.
Twix. Oh, you're hungry.
Twix. Yeah, I'm starving, actually. Twitch, X, and Threads. Send in any questions, any Rate My Multis. We will answer them and rate them, of course. And I think that's it. Thank you, Stats Guy.
Thank you.
For actually showing up to work.
Yeah.
And not having your identity stolen, presumably.
Not yet.
It would be funny if Alex is now actually just stealing your identity and that's it.
Oh, then I'm going to have to steal yours and grow out my beard. I can get a red beard going, so we'll see how we go.
I mean, you can certainly well try. All right, what do we say?
Gamble responsibly.
All right, may your picks come in. Happy punting. We will catch you tomorrow. Code Bet Daily out.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.